Sometimes compromise starts out really slowly, which is why the eventual outcome can be surprising. It can be tiny changes in how we react or what we allow that lead us to much more dangerous pitfalls in the future. We can be inching the wrong way for a while without knowing that we're off course. But eventually those tiny changes will cause us to miss the mark. Air navigation experts have a guideline that is apparently known as the 1 in 60 rule. And the idea is that for every degree a plane is veering off course, it's missing its target by 1 mile for every 60 miles that are flown. The further you travel, the further you get from your intended target, even if the course is off by only 1 degree. After a foot, the target's missed by 0.2 inches. Now that starts off unnoticeable, right? But keep going and we'll look at how it progresses. After 100 yards, the plane's off by 5.2 feet, which is a little bit more noticeable. After a mile, it's off by 92.2 feet, and that degree is starting to sound a little bit more important. In fact, when veering off course by that 1 degree, if a plane travels around the equator, it would land nearly 500 miles away from its intended destination. 500. We shouldn't look at the veering of a single degree in our lives and think it doesn't matter. Those tiny decisions and the moments add up. They pull us away from the path God intends for us to take. Matthew 6:24 says, "No one can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other." You cannot serve God and money. This verse references the place of money and its pull on devotion. But that same idea applies to all spheres of our lives. We can't compromise what we believe and also follow what God is calling us to. To cultivate our faith for the future, we need to hang on to the promises and the plans that we've been given and do our best not to falter or veer off with them. Once again in this story, we witness God's mercy in the mess, as Lot and his family are given a chance to escape the city before disaster strikes. But we see Lot's wife doesn't accept that mercy. Her heart stays with the cities, and she is caught up in the righteous judgment they receive. Lot lingered in a place that allowed his family to become comfortable with unhealthy things, and this was one of the outcomes. Years passed before the gravity of Lot's choices was made clear, and the consequences followed. Today, please take a few moments and think about what you might have grown comfortable in. What do you turn to? And where do you return when the world tries to sweep you away? Where do you linger? And how has that lingering affected what you believe and what you value in your life? Have you allowed yourself to compromise something that you shouldn't? If you believe you veered off course even just a little, I encourage you to remember the 160 rule that we talked about. A tiny deviation can make a difference by miles. Ask God to point out areas of your life that might be missing the mark and allow Him to steer you back on track. If you don't yet believe and you think you're just flying off the radar completely, please remember God's grace. It's just as prevalent in this story as last week's. The choice to turn away from an old lifestyle or way of thinking is up to each person. God offers His love and His mercy to whoever chooses it when we decide to linger where He dwells.